हेलो दोस्तों, मैं हूं स्मिता कुमार और आप देख रहे हैं आपका अपना हेल्थ चैनल पेडी सर्कल। क्या आपको पता है ओवेरियन कैंसर महिलाओं में होने वाला 8वां सबसे आम कैंसर है। करीब 78 यानी 78 महिलाओं में से एक महिला को ओवेरियन कैंसर होने का खतरा होता है। ओवेरियन कैंसर ज्यादातर 63 यानी 63 वर्ष से अधिक उम्र की बुजुर्ग महिलाओं में देखा जाता है। मेडी सर्कल आपके पास लाता है राइट इन्फॉर्मेशन सीधे एमिनेंट डॉक्टर्स और एक्सपर्ट्स की जुबानी, इसलिए इस चैनल पर आप हमेशा ऑथेंटिक कंटेंट ही पाएंगे। आपके लिए यह वीडियो देखना इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि यह इंफॉर्मेशन देता है एक ऐसे फॉर्म ऑफ कैंसर के बारे में कि जिसकी ओर अगर आपका ध्यान समय पे नहीं गया तो वो शरीर को काफ़ी हद तक नुकसान कर पहुंचा सकता है। यह कैंसर है ओवेरियन कैंसर। महिलाओं में होने वाले इस कैंसर के बारे में हमने कई एक्सपर्ट्स, सीनियर डॉक्टर्स, ऑन्कोलॉजिस्ट से बात की। उनसे ये पता करने की कोशिश की कि इस बीमारी के लक्षण क्या हैं, सिम्टम्स क्या है, कारण क्या है और इसका ट्रीटमेंट कैसा है और किस तरह से प्रिवेंटिव स्टेप्स देकर के हम इस बीमारी से बच सकते हैं। तो आइए वेल एक्सपीरियंस डॉक्टर्स से जाने कि वो इस बीमारी के बारे में क्या कह रहे हैं। अगर आप हेल्दी रहना चाहते हैं, बीमारियों से दूर रहना चाहते हैं, इफ यू वांट टू स्टे अवे फ्रॉम ऑल द डिजीजेस, स्टे ट्यून टू मेडी सर्कल, स्टे हेल्दी।
Ovarian cancer is the most common cancer, especially seen in elderly ladies. It is important to address ovarian cancer at an early stage with screening and detection of all female health problems. Ovarian cancer is a silent killer and its symptoms must not be ignored. Early diagnosis and treatment is very essential for it. World Ovarian Cancer Day is a global movement to ensure awareness among women about it. MediCircle joins hands in this global movement of World Ovarian Cancer Day to reach out to millions of women and educate them about the effects of ovarian cancer at an early stage. In this initiative, we are speaking to eminent gynecologists and oncologists who have expertise in treating ovarian cancer cases. Hello, I'm Sana Khan, and today in this initiative, we're going to talk to Dr. Suruchi Desai. Dr. Suruchi is a gynecologist and obstetrician with more than 17 plus years of experience. She's an active member of AMC, MOGS, IMA, and FOGSI. Dr. Desai has expertise over the treatment of ovarian cysts, pediatric and adolescent gynecology, sexually transmitted diseases, urinary tract infections, uterine, vaginal, and vulvar disorders, vaginal yeast infections, and vulvodynia. She has a special interest in all major and minor obstetrical procedures such as hysterectomy, cesarean section, MTPs, etc. She has publications in both national as well as international journals. She has 20 plus complete years in the field of OBGYN. She has been a frontline COVID healthcare worker, and most importantly, above all of this, she has been the first one to deliver COVID positive mothers in private hospitals in Mumbai. Wow. Please welcome Dr. Suruchi to MediCircle. Hello, doctor. How are you?
That was a very kind introduction, Sana. Thank you so much. I'm fine. Hope you are all safe at your end.
We're absolutely fine. Thankfully, ma'am. Okay. Dr. Suruchi, to begin with, is ovarian cancer a genetic disease? If yes, how can the screening be done prior for other members in the family?
So I am sure we are all aware of BRCA1, BRCA2 gene. So you have these genes in your system. So it is very specific. If there's a strong family history of breast cancer, which runs on your maternal or paternal side, yes, breast cancer is pretty common nowadays in men also. Initially, we never screen men for breast cancer, but yes, it is possible because even they do have mammary glands.
Right.
So if there is a strong family history, nani, dadi, or either one of the grandmothers, and runs into mother's siblings, or father and father's sibling, we have a strong suspicion that this is a reproductive genetic cancer, genetic linkage. So we would test them for BRCA1, BRCA2 genes. And if these are positive, you get an incidence, that high susceptibility, then yes, we would be worried about the uterus and ovaries. So we have to understand that ovaries produce hormones which act on your breast and your uterus.
Okay.
So when we are talking of ovarian cancer, we just don't limit ourselves to ovaries. We also take care of the breast at the same time. Make sure we are investigating the breast regularly with mammography, sonomammography, as the case may be. Teach patient even self-breast examination,
Right.
and make sure all the women folk are under surveillance. So yes, ovarian cancer does have a genetic backup. In the sense, if you have the gene, you are a high susceptibility.
Correct. Correct. Okay. What are the symptoms and causes for it, ma'am?
So for ovarian cancer, we all know that since ovaries are very small, teeny weeny, they're about 3 centimeters in size, and they can grow up to 30 centimeters. And
Okay.
it's eventually, as they grow in size, you'll have bloating, abdominal discomfort, menstrual irregularities, nausea, vomiting, frequent abdominal pain. Very rarely they present as some bleeding disorders like intermenstrual, between the periods having bleeding. So these are the red flags we should not ignore and investigate. We've seen as young as 25-year-olds having these problems. So kindly do not ignore any symptoms. And even if she's unmarried, young girl, not sexually
Right.
active, but if she complains that my cycles were extremely normal and suddenly this month I've seen some abnormality, at least we can do is get an ultrasonography done so we know if something is going wrong inside.
I had my ovaries removed. Could I still have ovarian cancer?
Yes. So the ovary is made up of three types of cells: the epithelial, endothelial, and mesothelial cells. Sometimes the epithelial, the superficial cell layers, just like we have skin and it sheds off, these epithelial cells very rarely can be found in the abdominal cavity, on the peritoneum, the lining of the abdominal cavity, inner lining. And even after removing the ovaries, suppose they were cancerous and they were removed at that time and there was some spillage or shedding of the cells, these cells can find blood supply somewhere else and start growing again. So
Okay.
even after cancer, we always tell patients for next 3 to 5 years, you're under surveillance.
Right.
And the only way out is getting ultrasonography done. And if need be, MRIs.
So even once the ovaries are removed, we should be really careful and have to keep an eye on everything, every
Absolutely.
symptom.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How can we prevent ovarian cancer and reduce the risk?
So, unlike the common misconception or the myth that if I am on contraceptive pills, I am prone to cancers and infertility,
Right.
it's the other way around. If you have used oral contraceptive pill for up to 5 years in your reproductive life, you're reducing your risk of ovarian cancer by 50%.
Is it?
That's a huge amount. Yes. The reason behind this is that every month when you ovulate, there is a breach or there is a break in the continuity of the epithelium or the lining of the ovary, and the egg is released or the follicle is released. An oral contraceptive pill works by inhibition of ovulation, doesn't let the follicle grow and doesn't cause ovulation.
Right.
Hence, the lady who's on the pill cannot get pregnant.
Correct.
Since there is no breach in the epithelium, it protects the taker, the lady who's on the pill, from ovarian cancer in her later on life. So contraceptive pills, the known benefit is to protect you from ovarian cancer. Smoking, we all know, is injurious to health. It flares up and adds on to all kinds of cancers. Uh, drug abuse. When I say drug abuse, doesn't mean just commercial drugs. Taking hormones at the drop of the hat without medical supervision. There are a lot of these younger generations who would just pop in emergency contraception.
True.
You're kind of messing up with your hormonal system,
Mm.
and this can give you problems later on in life.
Right, right, right.
So I think whenever you want to use some hormones, make sure it's under medical supervision. Visit your gynac, your family doctor, and they would be the right person to guide you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suruchi, for your valuable time and your significant knowledge that you've imparted to our viewers today. I hope it helps our viewers. And it was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me.